What you doing there? Hello and welcome back to Miss G. This is Cosplay Edition. As you can tell from my newly washed hair and my very comfy clothing, we're gonna do some sewing today. So today I'm focusing on my first cosplay, which is Steel Angel Kurumi, who I have right here. Oh, hello, yes, you're so beautiful. Yes, I am so beautiful. Cool, isn't it? Anywho, today I'm going to be making her neck bow. Kind of just going off what feels good from my sewing experience, but we'll see how it goes. So let's have a look at some measurements. For some reason, I can't find my measuring tape, so I'm going to use this. Now I'm just using this as a general indication of how wide I want her bow to be at my neck. So if you can see this, I think this is a little bit too big. I don't want it completely overpowering the whole costume. So I'll probably go for something, yeah, about this big. That looks good. So I'm going to use this as my little measuring stick, adding a centimetre for seam allowance all the way around, and I'm going to go ahead and cut my material. So we'll see how my DIY measuring tape goes. Red crinkled material. Yeah, I'm not the greatest when it comes to folding things, so I have to give this an iron before I get to it. But what it essentially is a medium weight felt fabric. The reason I chose a felt fabric was because I am looking at the stiffness in her bow, and I wanted to maintain it for the whole day. As you can see from the figurine, if you can kind of get past her bangs, yeah, it's kind of bouncy, I guess, like a personality a bit. Some of her reference shots, she has like almost like what looks like to be a silk tie, but that's all only comes about in her dramatic scenes and when she's like almost dead and dying. So maybe the bow is a metaphor for her health. I'm not quite sure. So at a con, I want it to be kind of perky all day, and that's why I've also bought iron-on interfacing. I love this stuff. I don't baste. I'm terrible at basting, so I prefer ones that I can just iron on and I don't necessarily have to remove afterwards. I got a medium weight, just again for that stability, to keep it nice and fresh looking all day. And that's essentially why I've made my fabric choices the way I have. So we'll go ahead, I'm going to iron this, iron on my interfacing, cut it out with my measuring stick, and I'll see you after that. Oh, I forgot to look at bow height. I know, I'm doing so well. So essentially what I want to do is, her bow is really wide at parts, so especially at the end, so I don't want to have to go like because that would be way too much. I'm just going to go a little bit in. I'm not going to put in half, but maybe like a quarter. So I mean, that's still pretty big, and we'll have to see how it goes, and depends on how heavy it gets, because I might have to make another smaller one, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so I've cut my material, I have cut my interface and ironed it on. Obviously I've also ironed my material. I purposefully folded the fabric on the fold line so I wouldn't have to sew all four edges. Just makes it a little bit quicker and easier. So let's go ahead and start sewing. So we're going to start right sides together, which is basically the beginning of any sewing pattern project. And essentially all I'm going to do is sew up this line across here, leave a space about this wide, keep going along and back up. I'm going to back stitch at all my corners and skip this part because I want to pull stuff through there later. So let's go. Okay, so as you can see with my amazingly straight stitches, we have got our piece together. So you can just go ahead and snip our loose threads here. And when we pull it through, we get something that looks a little bit like this. So I'm going to sew up this area here, and then I'm going to do just a basting stitch or a gathering stitch up the center to help me pull my threads through. So we'll see how that goes. So after I've pulled my gathering stitch through, this is what we've ended up with. Now I've tied up the middle with some white thread. I didn't stitch this in, I just simply looped it around and around and around until it held. I only really need that until I'm actually doing my middle piece. So as you can see, even though I measured it, it's still quite large. So you can imagine what I would have done had I gone any bigger. It would have just been enormous. So I'm going to make it about an inch wide, maybe less than an inch, 0.75 of an inch wide as my center strip. I won't put any interfacing on it, but I will have it double, so I will fold it over. So as you can see, I've just quickly sewn it together, double-sided. And if you can see from the back, I've just pinned it together, and I'm going to hand sew along this seam probably 2 or 3 times, because a lot of stuff's going to be attached to this, which will then attach to my neck with the tails, etc. Cool. It is hand sewed. I mean, my hand sewing skills aren't that legendary, but I think for this project it'll do. The beauty of a bow is that it has a back, so you can attach whatever you need to it, which makes me very happy. And as you can see, it's lovely. Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah. And we'll go for a long shot. Oh man. Yeah, I think for half an hour's worth of work with measuring and everything intact, I'm pretty happy with that. I know it's not exactly the same as my beautiful Kurumi here, but it's not bad. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the tails of the bow, and I believe I'm going to maybe use it as a collar, because underneath the collar I'll probably wrap it around there. And as you can see, she also has a bow in her hair, which I'm going to make in exactly the same way, probably even the same size. So we'll see how that goes. But thanks for watching. I'll post another update on my bows in my next video, which I hope to be uploading next Friday with cosplay. So cosplay videos every Friday. And hopefully bit by bit I can get through this Kurumi costume without being too procrastinating, as seems to be a problem of mine. So you can help me, and that is wonderful. So if you want to, click subscribe and you won't miss out on any of my cosplay progress, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Sayonara, mother lover.